Halo, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to my video. Today, let's learn about calorimetry. This is the part of chemical energetic, and today we will discuss how to calculate the enthalpy change using calorimetry. This is the learning objective. So calculate enthalpy change from appropriate experimental results, including the use of relationships Q equals to mc delta T and delta H equals to minus mc delta T. So without further ado, let's start our lesson by reciting Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so this is the look of calorimetry. So the calorimetry is the process of measuring the heat of reactions as well as heat capacity. We will use the apparatus named calorimeter, and this is the set of the apparatus. You will need thermometer, you will need stirrer, cover, and this is the cup. We will use some substance. In this, we will have reaction mixtures, and then it covered with the styrofoam cups. Later, you can see this apparatus in our lab. Okay, so calorimetry calculation. Enthalpy change can be calculated using the following equation. Q equals to M times C times delta T. Q is the enthalpy change in joules. M is mass of substance being heated, often water, in grams. C is specific heat capacity in joules per Kelvin per gram. And for water, the number is 4.18 joule per Kelvin per gram for water. And delta T is change of temperature in Kelvin. To work out the enthalpy of neutralization, the density and the specific heat capacities of acid and base used are taken to be the same as pure water. That's the formula by using key, or if the unit is in joule. Now you can also calculate the enthalpy change. Delta H as a symbol of enthalpy change have a formula that is equals to minus mc delta T over N. N is moles. So yes, uh, each symbol first is delta H. We have enthalpy change. M is mass. C is specific heat capacity. Delta T is the change in temperature. So the final temperature minus the initial temperature. And N is the mole of the substance. So basically the symbol, some of the symbol is similar or the same with the previous one. So if you can highlight the difference between key and the delta H is, for delta H, you have a negative or minus symbol in front of your formula. So be careful. What's the question about? What's the question asking you? And then, since the enthalpy change affected with the mole, so it should be over mole, or usually all of the delta H measuring in 1 mole. So if it is in 1 mole, so yes, just replace N with 1. So that's the formula. If you confuse why delta H have negative symbol there, because for the delta H, we involving the types of reaction that is exothermic and endothermic reaction. So if it is exothermic reaction, it shows the negative sign of the delta H so that at the end, it's become negative as types of reactions. So you can decide the types of reaction after you get the result of the delta H. All right, to make it clear, I think better for us to just discuss into the question. What's the question looks like for the calorimetry topics here? So the question is asking you to calculate the delta H for 1 mole when the temperatures of 75 gram of water rise from 23 degrees Celsius or 296 Kelvin to 54 degrees Celsius or 327 Kelvin. So using the delta H formula, since the question asking you to calculate the delta H, so let's use the formula for delta H. And they have mentioned about it's in 1 mole. So let's just count first the delta T. So delta T can be calculated using the final temperature minus the initial temperature. So you can use Celsius or Kelvin since it's asking about the delta T. So the changes of the temperatures, we can prove here the result will be the same. So yes, take the final temperatures minus the initial temperature. So we got delta T is 31. And then using the formula, we can get the result later that Q by calculating the mass here is 75 times C that we know before, the number of the C of water. So you can take it for calculate the Q, and then the delta E is 31. So the result is 9,718.5 joule, or we can get it in kilojoule also. After you got the Q, you can over it with the mole since it's 1, so over 1, but we have to add the negative sign in front of it. So delta H have a different unit. Here for the delta H, since we already divided with mole, so the unit is joule per mole, or it can be kilojoule per mole also. Done. That's it. Okay, if you're confused, do not hesitate to ask me. And for your at home, I leave you this question so you can try to solve it to masterize this topic. So please try to answer this question. Okay, so I think enough for today. Let's close our class by reciting Hamdalah together. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Thank you everyone. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.